My name's David Miller. I'm a deputy sheriff in a rural county that most people only drive through on their way to somewhere else. Nothing special happens here. Mostly property disputes, traffic stops, the occasional drunk driver or bar fight on a Saturday night. I know the locals and they know me. It's that kind of place. But every now and then, something happens that shakes you. One night, one call, it still follows me. It was a late shift, dead of night, around 3 a.m., if I remember right. I was in my patrol car, finishing up some paperwork in the lot outside a truck stop just off Route 17. Hardly anyone out that time of night, just the truckers fueling up, grabbing a coffee. I remember being half asleep in my car when dispatch radioed in. They said a call had come in from a resident up near one of the back roads, Old Orchard Drive. Guy's name was Lee Carter. He reported seeing a car parked out there, just sitting idle with its lights off. Orchard Drive's a small road, barely even paved, that runs through a patch of woods and farmland before looping back to the main road. No reason for anyone to be out there, especially at that hour. So I sighed, put my paperwork down and headed out. Figured it was a kid sneaking out for a smoke, or maybe someone's car broke down. But something about Lee's voice on the recording, it had this edge to it, like he wasn't just nervous, but really rattled. The drive was quiet. Nothing but my headlights cutting through the trees and the faint hum of the radio chatter. I finally spotted the car, just like Lee said, parked at the side of the road with its lights off. It was an old, beaten-up sedan, looked like it had seen better days. No one was around, and it was just quiet. Too quiet. I pulled my cruiser up a little behind it, left my headlights on. I got out, flashlight in hand, and approached the car. "Sheriff's Department," I called out, keeping my voice low but steady. "Anyone in there?" Nothing. I shined my flashlight through the driver's window, and what I saw gave me pause. The car was empty, but there was a cell phone on the driver's seat. The screen cracked. On the passenger side, there was a backpack half unzipped with papers spilling out. I could see a half-eaten sandwich, too, like someone had been here recently. I radioed it into dispatch, let them know I'd found the car, but no driver. 10-4, they said, "We'll look into it." And then they went quiet. Usually they'd ask if I wanted backup, but not this time. Just silence. I thought it was odd, but I brushed it off. Maybe they were busy with other calls. As I circled around to the front of the car, something caught my eye. There were faint footprints in the mud, leading off the road, just barely visible in the dim light. They were fresh, too fresh. I took a deep breath and followed them into the woods, shining my flashlight on the ground to keep track. The air was thick, cold. You know that feeling when the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you just something's off? That's what I felt. I could hear my own breathing, heavy and slow, and the crunch of leaves under my boots. But as I went deeper into the trees, there was this shift, this unsettling silence that wrapped around me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Then, just up ahead, I spotted something, a faint glow. It was a phone face down in the dirt, screen cracked, just like the one in the car. I crouched down and picked it up. The battery was nearly dead, but when I pressed the button, the screen flickered to life. There was a single text on it. "Help me, I'm close." My heart skipped a beat. This wasn't just some prank, some kid messing around. Someone was out here, and they were in trouble. But as I looked around, I realized I had no idea where I was, not really. The trees were thick, shadows blending together, and my cruiser was out of sight. I called out, "This is Deputy Miller. If you're out here, make some noise. Let me know where you are." My voice echoed, but there was no response, just silence, thick as a blanket. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just my mind playing tricks, but deep down I knew something was wrong. I stood there for a minute, just listening. And then I heard it, a faint sound like breathing. Slow, steady, coming from somewhere close, too close. I whipped my flashlight around, scanning the trees. "Who's there?" I barked, but no one answered. And that's when I saw it. A shadow, just barely visible, crouched low behind a tree maybe 10 feet away. My heart was pounding so loud I thought it might burst. I took a step back, kept my light trained on the spot, and called out, "Come out where I can see you! Now!" The shadow didn't move. I tightened my grip on my flashlight, inching backward, and then, just as I was about to turn and head back to my car, I heard it. A laugh. Not loud, not even a chuckle, but this soft, eerie sound that slipped out from the shadows. And then, clear as day, a voice. "Leaving so soon, deputy?" My blood ran cold. I didn't know who it was, didn't recognize the voice, but it was so calm, so casual, like they'd been watching me the whole time. I kept my light trained on the spot where I'd seen the shadow, but it was gone. Just trees and darkness. At that point, every instinct in me screamed to get out. I didn't turn my back, just kept moving step by step until I could see the faint glow of my cruiser's headlights through the trees. I practically jogged back, keeping my eyes on the shadows, and as I reached the car, I could feel someone watching me. I didn't wait. I jumped in, slammed the door, and hit the gas, not stopping until I was back on the main road. I radioed dispatch, told them I was leaving the scene, and the line went dead. Just static. I thought about going back, about calling for backup, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I don't know what I saw out there or who that voice belonged to, but one thing was clear: whoever or was out there, they didn't want to be found. To this day, I still don't have an answer. The car was towed the next day and no one ever claimed it. Dispatch said the call from Lee Carter was never recorded, like it just vanished. And every time I drive past Orchard Drive, I get this feeling like I'm being watched, like someone's out there in the trees waiting. People ask me why I'm so jumpy on night shifts now, why I never go down those back roads alone. I just tell them it's part of the job. But between you and me, some calls you're better off forgetting, and some roads, they're better left unexplored.